Blog Talk Radio.
Hey, yo, L, what time is it?
It's 7 o'clock. Why? What's up?
Hindsight time. That's what's up. Hindsight time. You already know.
Don't leave me. Trying to get my knowledge on, too.
That good old knowledge without a college, bro.
Don't be stingy with the knowledge.
You walking on slow. Let's get the hard stepping.
You know what time it is. Those who don't listen, special.
Real special. Real special. You know, I ain't old as I look, but I'm never too old to get that knowledge.
You are now listening to Hindsight Radio.
Because I got to tell you the truth, folks. I got to tell you the truth. When it comes to bullshit, big time, major league bullshit, you have to stand in awe of the all-time champion of false promises and exaggerated claims, religion. No contest. No contest. Religion easily has the greatest bullshit story ever told. Think about it. Religion has actually convinced people that there's an invisible man living in the sky who watches everything you do every minute of every day. And the invisible man has a special list of 10 things he does not want you to do. And if you do any of these 10 things, he has a special place full of fire and smoke and burning and torture and anguish, where he will send you to live and suffer and burn and choke and scream and cry forever and ever till the end of time. But he loves you. He loves you. He loves you, and he needs money. He always needs money. He's all powerful, all perfect, all knowing, and all wise. Somehow, just can't handle money. Religion takes in billions of dollars. They pay no taxes, and they always need a little more. Now, you talk about a good bullshit story. Holy shit. But, thank you very much. But I want you to know something. This is sincere. I want you to know, when it comes to believing in God, I really tried. I really tried. I tried to believe that there is a God who created each of us in his own image and likeness, loves us very much, and keeps a close eye on things. I really tried to believe that, but I got to tell you, the longer you live, the more you look around, the more you realize something is fucked up. Something is wrong here. War, disease, death, destruction, hunger, filth, poverty, torture, crime, corruption, and the ice-capades. Something is definitely wrong. This is not good work. If this is the best God can do, I am not impressed. Results like these do not belong on the resume of a supreme being. This is the kind of shit you'd expect from an office temp with a bad attitude. And just between you and me, in any decently run universe, this guy would have been out on his all-powerful ass a long time ago. And by the way, I say this guy because I firmly believe, looking at these results, that if there is a God, it has to be a man. No woman could or would ever fuck things up like this. If there is a God, I think most reasonable people might agree that he's at least incompetent and maybe, just maybe, doesn't give a shit. Doesn't give a shit, which I admire in a person and which would explain a lot of these bad results. So rather than be just another mindless religious robot, mindlessly and aimlessly and blindly believing that all of this is in the hands of some spooky, incompetent father figure who doesn't give a shit, I decided to look around for something else to worship, something I could really count on. And immediately, I thought of the sun. Happened like that. Overnight, I became a sun worshiper. Well, not overnight. You can't see the sun at night. The first thing the next morning, I became a sun worshiper. Several reasons. First of all, I can see the sun, okay? Yeah. Unlike some other gods I could mention, I can actually see the sun. I'm big on that. If I can see something, I don't know, kind of helps the credibility along, you know? So every day I can see the sun as it gives me everything I need: heat, light, food, flowers in the park, reflections on the lake, an occasional skin cancer, but hey, at least there are no crucifixions, and we're not setting people on fire simply because they don't agree with us. Sun worship is fairly simple. There's no mystery, no miracles, no pageantry, no one asks for money, there are no songs to learn, and we don't have a special building where we all gather once a week to compare clothing. And the best thing about the sun, it never tells me I'm unworthy. Doesn't tell me I'm a bad person who needs to be saved. Hasn't said an unkind word. Treats me fine. So, I worship the sun. But I don't pray to the sun. Know why? I wouldn't presume on our friendship. It's not polite. I've often thought people treat God rather rudely, don't you? Asking trillions and trillions of prayers every day, asking and pleading and begging for favors. Do this, give me that, I need a new car, I want a better job. And most of this praying takes place on Sunday, his day off. Not nice. And it's no way to treat a friend. But people do pray, and they pray for a lot of different things. You know, your sister needs an operation on her crotch. Your brother was arrested for defecating in a mall. But most of all, you'd really like to fuck that hot little redhead down at the convenience store. You know, the one with the eye patch and the club foot, huh? Can you pray for that? I think you'd have to. And I say, fine, pray for anything you want. Pray for anything. But what about the divine plan? Remember that? The divine plan. Long time ago, God made a divine plan. Gave it a lot of thought, decided it was a good plan, put it into practice. And for billions and billions of years, the divine plan has been doing just fine. Now you come along and pray for something. Well, suppose the thing you want isn't in God's divine plan. What do you want him to do? Change his plan? Just for you? Doesn't it seem a little arrogant? It's a divine plan. What's the use of being God if every rundown schmuck with a $2 prayer book can come along and fuck up your plan? And here's something else, another problem you might have. Suppose your prayers aren't answered. What do you say? Well, it's God's will. Thy will be done. Fine, but if it's God's will and he's going to do what he wants to anyway, why the fuck bother praying in the first place? Seems like a big waste of time to me. Couldn't you just skip the praying part and go right to his will? It's all very confusing. So to get around a lot of this, I decided to worship the sun. But, as I said, I don't pray to the sun. You know who I pray to? Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci. 2 reasons. First of all, I think he's a good actor, okay? To me, that counts. Second, he looks like a guy who can get things done. Joe Pesci doesn't fuck around. Doesn't fuck around. In fact, Joe Pesci came through on a couple of things that God was having trouble with. For years, I asked God to do something about my noisy neighbor with the barking dog. Joe Pesci straightened that cocksucker out with 1 visit. It's amazing what you can accomplish with a simple baseball bat. So I've been praying to Joe for about a year now, and I noticed something. I noticed that all the prayers I used to offer to God and all the prayers I now offer to Joe Pesci are being answered at about the same 50% rate. Half the time I get what I want, half the time I don't. Same as God, 50-50. Same as the 4-leaf clover and the horseshoe, the wishing well and the rabbit's foot. Same as the mojo man. Same as the voodoo lady who tells you your fortune by squeezing the goat's testicles. It's all the same, 50-50. So just pick your superstition, sit back, make a wish, and enjoy yourself. And for those of you who look to the Bible for moral lessons and literary qualities, I might suggest a couple of other stories for you. You might want to look at The Three Little Pigs. That's a good one. Has a nice, happy ending. I'm sure you'll like that. Then there's Little Red Riding Hood, although it does have that X-rated part where the big bad wolf actually eats the grandmother, which I didn't care for, by the way. And finally, I've always drawn a great deal of moral comfort from Humpty Dumpty. The part I like the best, all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. That's because there is no Humpty Dumpty and there is no God. None, not one, no God, never was. In fact, I'm gonna put it this way. If there is a God, may he strike this audience dead. See, nothing happened. Nothing happened. Everybody's okay. All right? Tell you what, I'll raise the stakes a little bit. If there is a God, may he strike me dead. See, nothing happened. Oh, wait, got a little cramp in my leg. And my balls hurt. Plus, I'm blind. Oh, now I'm okay again. Must have been Joe Pesci, huh? God bless Joe Pesci. Thank you all very much. Joe bless you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And now, Reverend Ike's third commandment of money. Thou shalt do right about money. Oh, that's important. It's important that you have the desire, the will, and the attitude to do right about money. And I want you to understand that in all my teaching and preaching about money, I am not talking about doing wrong things, dishonest things to get money or with money. Is the record clear? I'm not teaching you to do ungodliness and sin to get money. But you must have the attitude and the desire to do right about money. That means that you have the desire to even pay your bills. And this is another thing that will help you with money and even in paying your bills. I'm giving you some homework now. Every time you pay a bill, rejoice in paying that bill. Love and bless the telephone company, for example, for trusting you with their instrument. You can pick up that telephone and call anywhere on earth. Love and bless the gas company, the electric light company, for trusting you and giving you carte blanche with their goods and services. Now, I dare you to start doing this. Bless everybody that you owe. Bless the people that you're paying your bills to. And if you have some bills that you can't pay at the moment, I dare you to get those bills and put them somewhere where you can see them regularly and start blessing them and bless the people that you owe those bills to. Some surprising things will start happening in your life. Your bills will become easier to pay. You'll have more money to pay those bills, and you'll have a better relationship with your creditors. So say with me an affirmation that isn't on the lesson sheet, but it's good. I see myself rejoicing and paying all of my bills with ease. I see myself rejoicing and paying all my bills with ease. I bless all of the people that I owe money to. I bless all of the companies who trust me with their goods and services. And I pay my bills with ease and rejoicing. I send love with every payment. I send love with every payment. Now I dare you to do that. And you're going to get so much money that you're going to have to bring it by the truckloads to church and pay your tithes from it. All right. Let's do the affirmation on Reverend Ike's third commandment of money. Let's stand and do it. Repeat it after me because this clears the air. It's good to do this. Yes, it clears the ear too. That's correct. I am willing to do right about money. I am willing to do right about money. I have no need to do right. I have no need to do wrong about money. I have no need to do wrong about money. Or to do wrong to get money. Or to do wrong to get money. Thinking right and doing right about money draws more and more money unto me. Thinking right and doing right about money draws more and more money unto me. I pay my bills with joy. I pay my bills with joy. I use money with joy. I use money with joy. Money has no power over me to make me do evil. Money has no power over me to make me do evil. I have all power over money. I have all power over
money. You're listening to the Moor Empire Building Show with your host, Akeem F. on Hindsight Radio.
Peace to the gods. What's going on? You're listening to the Moor Empire Building Show with your host, Akeem L. on Hindsight Radio, the information station changing the nation. Hope everybody's doing well. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Man, having a fantastic week so far. One announcement that I want to make. June 16th is our Atlanta seminar that's featuring Jonah Bay and myself. We will be in Atlanta at our usual spot, Marriott Courtyard, downtown Atlanta Marriott, or the Courtyard Atlanta Marriott downtown. That's at 133 Carnegie Way. The zip code 30303. Time will be from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. You go to akeeml.com, purchase your seats in advance, or you can pay at the door, but just bring cash if you come to the door. That's June 16th. I got time to prepare for that one. I just got in about an hour ago. I was on the road helping somebody get a car. So I got in and I started reading over some stuff and trying to figure out what I was going to talk about. And the ancestors did me some justice. They looked out for me, had me find something, to share with you guys. You know how we been talking about nationality and how we got you putting down more America's Aboriginal on your paperwork? There's a reason for that. And, a lot of people have disputed on, we should put indigenous, we should be this. But I'm going to go to what they say they recognize. I'm going to go there. And also going to show you a few things, how they were able to get our lands away from us. It was all by reclassification. Right here in Wikipedia, it's called Aboriginal titles. I found this reading something else. There's two places I want to go, but I want to first, let's define Aboriginal title. Aboriginal title is a common law doctrine that the land rights of indigenous peoples to customary tenure persist after the assumption of sovereignty under settler colonialism. So what's settler colonialism? Settler colonialism is a form of colonialism which seeks to replace the original population of the colonized territory with a new society of settlers and with all forms of colonialism. It is based on exogenous domination, typically organized, supported by imperial authorities. Settler colonialism, let's see, let me open this link up in the new tab here. It's based on exogenous domination, typically organized and supported by an imperial authority. Settler colonialism is enacted by a variety of means ranging from violent depopulation of previous inhabitants to more subtle legal means such as assimilation or recognition of indigenous identity within a colonial framework. Unlike other forms of colonialism, the imperial power does not always represent the same nationality as the settlers. However, the colonizing authority generally views the settlers as racially superior to the previous inhabitants, which may give settlers' social movements and political demands greater legitimacy than those of colonized peoples in the eyes of the home government. The land is the key resource in settler colonies, whereas natural and human resources are the main motivation behind other forms of colonialism. Normal colonialism typically ends eventually, whereas settler colonialism lasts indefinitely, except in the rare event of complete evacuation or settler decolonization. Settler colonialism is generally discussed in terms of the one-way flow of British values, which overtake and repudiate the culture and history of the location in question. Transnational and global studies of settler colonialism often give more importance to the histories of British immigrants rather than the indigenous peoples that were displaced. Legal proceedings in Australia and Canada have challenged settler rights, highlighting the lasting effects of colonial takeover and the continued displacement of indigenous peoples at the start of the 21st century. In the United States, Western Australia, South Africa, government used land allotment as a legal way to take possession of indigenous peoples' land. There you go. That's pretty much what's happening, and it's still happening. Let me go back to Aboriginal title. The requirements of proof for the recognition of Aboriginal title, the content of Aboriginal title, the methods of extinguishing Aboriginal title, and the availability of compensation in case of extinguishment vary significantly by jurisdiction. Nearly all jurisdictions are in agreement that Aboriginal title is inalienable. Okay, what's inalienable mean? Let's look that up. Mom, it's taking its time now. It's working fine. A minute ago. I'll stop that. Oh, it won't open up. Where is... It was, all right. I'm trying to get it to come up with the word I just clicked. And now, when I clicked inalienable, it gave me alienation property law. Property law is the voluntary act of owner of some property. That's not what I clicked on. It says inalienable rights. Natural and legal rights are two types of rights. Natural rights are those that are dependent on the laws or customs of any particular culture or government, and so are universal and inalienable. They cannot be repealed or restrained by human laws. So basically they're saying your rights to Aboriginal lands cannot be taken from you. All right? But they did it. How did they do it? They took it. They have the land. How were they able to do it? Let's keep going on. Let me just finish with this definition, and I'll go back to showing you how they did it. And that it may be held either individually or collectively. I'm on Aboriginal title now. Aboriginal title was first acknowledged in the early 19th century in decisions in which indigenous peoples were not a party. Significant Aboriginal title litigation resulting in victories for indigenous peoples did not arise until recent decades. Well, they're saying that they held all kind of decisions, but the Aboriginal wasn't even part of those decisions. It was making laws in their own favor. So basically, when I did the research, all of these new Aboriginal treaties they came up was within the last less than 100 years. Prior to that, they was making rules to take land from people. And it was one key way they was able to do it. And we've been talking about it for weeks and months, how they did it. All right? Let's keep going. Victories for indigenous people did not arise until recent decades. The majority of court cases have been litigated in Australia, Canada, Malaysia, New Zealand, and the United States. Aboriginal title is an important area of comparative law, with many cases being cited as persuasive authority across jurisdictions. Many commentators believe that the doctrine is applicable in all common law legal systems. Aboriginal title is also referred to as indigenous title, native title, particularly in Australia, original Indian title, particularly in the United States, and customary title, particularly in New Zealand. Aboriginal title jurisprudence is related to indigenous rights, influencing and influenced by non-land issues such as whether the government owes a fiduciary duty to indigenous peoples. While the judge-made doctrine arises from customary international law, it has been codified nationally by legislation, treaties, and constitutions. And it goes on and talks about the British colonial legacy, which I'm not going to go into. Here's one case of the first indigenous land rights case under common law, Mohegan Indians versus Connecticut, was litigated in 1705 to 1773. That might be something good to read, because I'm sure if we dig out those cases, actually look at the cases, I'm almost positive that they weren't calling those people Indians. So I'm going to dig a little further to actually see the court case, because they're using this word Indian. We both know that Indian is not the proper word. Now, let's go to Aboriginal titles in the United States. Go there. I mean, if you guys are paying attention, we really got an action against this government and all these other governments for what they did. How they genocide. They did paper genocide, and they did physical genocide as well. See, they had to get you away from your true title, your true name, in order to do this. Because, okay, if there's Aboriginal titles, so you have to prove who you are, but if you're calling yourself something other than what you were called, how are you going to prove you was Aboriginal? That was why it was very important to create the birth certificate system to steal your nationality. Then it went into all of those tribes and burned down all of the original records. Some of the courthouses, they burned down the courthouses, burned all the original records. So how do you prove who you are? You see? All right. Let's go back to where I was. Aboriginal title. Did I put this in the chat? Yeah, I just put it in the chat. Aboriginal title in the United States. The United States was the first jurisdiction to acknowledge the common law doctrine of Aboriginal title, also known as Original Indian title or Indian right of occupancy. Native American tribes and nations established Aboriginal title by actual, continuous, and exclusive use and occupancy for a long time. Individuals may also establish Aboriginal title if their ancestors held titles as individuals. Unlike other jurisdictions, the content of Aboriginal title is not limited to historical and traditional land uses. Aboriginal title may not be alienated, except to the federal government or with the approval of Congress. So you see the fuckery here. They're saying it can't be alienated, but the federal government can do it. How can they do it? How were they able to do it? Let's keep going. Aboriginal title is distinct from the lands Native Americans own in fee simple and occupy under federal trust. So they're saying Aboriginal title is distinct from the land's Native Americans. So they're saying Native Americans are not Aboriginals. So all of them motherfuckers walking around calling themselves Native Americans, they're not the same. The power of Congress to extinguish Aboriginal title by purchase or conquest or with a clear statement is plenary and exclusive. So they're showing you how powerful Congress is. How does the Congress get that power? We already know, 14th Amendment. Such extinguishment is not compensable under the Fifth Amendment, although various statutes provided for compensation. Unextinguished Aboriginal title provides a federal common law cause of action for ejectment and or trespass, which there is a federal subject matter jurisdiction. Many potentially meritorious tribal lawsuits have been settled by congressional legislation providing for the extinguishment of Aboriginal titles as well as monetary compensation or the approval of gaming enterprises. Basically, they made deals. We give you the gaming, we'll give you this, but we're going to take that Aboriginal title from you. All right, large-scale compensatory litigation first rose in the 1940s and possessory litigation in the 1970s. You see where all of this shit started late, well after they had changed our title from Moor to Indian. And from Indian to Negro and all this other stuff they want to call you. And federal sovereignty immunity bars possessory claims against the federal government, although compensatory claims are possible by statute. The 11th Amendment bars both possessory and compensatory claims against states unless the federal government intervenes. The U.S. Supreme Court rejected nearly all legal and equitable affirmative defenses in 1985. However, the Second Circuit, where most remaining possessory claims are pending, has held that laches bars all claims that are disruptive. What is laches? Laches refers to the lack of diligence and activity in making a legal claim or moving forward or legal enforcement of a right, particularly in regards to equity. Hence, it is an unreasonable delay that can be viewed as prejudice in the opposing defending party. So they're saying, call Indian, or we can even say the Moors, we're under laches. We haven't been making our claim. But we're doing it now. When we tell you guys to go into this court and change that title, that nationality, get it done. By any means necessary, get it done. So that we won't be under lashes. But see, we could beat that latches bullshit because, and I will not go into it because it's giving away a trade secret. It will. We'll discuss it at a seminar. But latches, we are not under latches. Latches means you knew you had the opportunity to do something, but you did nothing about it. Well, what is it if you don't know? If you've been tricked, what is it in? And that's all I'll say. Let me keep moving. All right. History. Before 1763, the colonial history of the United States was characterized by private purchases of land from Indians. Many of the earliest deeds in eastern states purport to commemorate such transactions. This is before 1763. Now, we showed you paperwork around this time and a little bit later that they were referring to Indians as Moors. So you know this is bullshit because by them keep using this word Indian. I promise you, if I find that court case, they are not calling those people Indians. I promise you, I'm going to find it. All right. The Royal Proclamation of 1760 changed matters, reserving for the Crown the exclusive right of preemption, requiring all such purchases to have royal approval. It was also an attempt to restrain colonial settlements west of the Appalachian Mountains, Now, remember, I talked about the Appalachian Mountains, the Indians, and they were Moors, and they gave all those descriptions. It was a few weeks ago. Forged versions of Pratt York Opinion of 1757 in its authentic form, a joint opinion of Britain's Attorney General and Solicitor General regarding land purchases in India, was circulated in the colonies, edited such that it appeared to apply to purchases from Native Americans. See, now they're flipping into this Native Americans. I just told y'all Aboriginals were different from Native Americans. The Royal Proclamation was among the enumerated complaints in the Declaration of Independence. He has endeavored to prevent the population of these states for that purpose, raising the conditions of new appropriations of land. Articles of Confederation era. The Confederation Congress Proclamation of 1763 prohibited the extinguishment of Aboriginal title without the consent of Congress. Particularly New York purchased lands from tribes during the period without the consent of federal government. These purchases were not tested in court until 1970s and 1980s, when the Second Circuit held that the Confederation Congress had neither the authority under the Articles of Confederation or the intent to limit the ability of states to extinguish Aboriginal title within their borders. Thus, the proclamation was interrupted to apply only to the federal territories. So if you was under federal territories, that's the only place it applied. Which most of us, if you hold on the social, you under the federal territory. See, by that time, they got everybody under federal jurisdiction. Why? They issued them a birth certificate and a social. So they was under the federal territory. States lost the ability to extinguish Aboriginal title within the ratification of the United States Constitution in 1788, which vested authority over commerce with American Indian tribes in the federal government. See, you notice that all of these treaties, all of these things they came up with is with the quasi-Indian, the 14th Amendment Indian. Congress codified this prohibition in the Non-Intercourse Acts of 1790, 1793, 1796, 1799, 1802, and 1833. Marshall Court made Aboriginal title in the Marshall Court. The Marshall Court 1801, 1835 issued some of the earliest and most influential opinions on the status of Aboriginal title in the United States, most of them authorized by Chief Justice John Marshall. But without exception, the remarks of the court and original title during the period of dicta. Only one indigenous litigant ever appeared before the Marshall Court, and there Marshall dismissed the case for lack of original jurisdiction. See? Only one litigant came. Might because they didn't know. Fletcher v. Peck, 1810, and Johnson v. McIntosh, 1823. The first and most detailed explorations of subject by Marshall, respectively, both arose out of collusive lawsuits, where land speculators deceived the court with a falsified case and controversy in order to elicit the desired precedent. In Cherokee Nation versus Georgia, 1831, and Worcester versus Georgia, 1832. The dicta of Marshall and the dissenting justices embraced a far broader view of Aboriginal title. I suggest y'all go and read these cases. I will be. Johnson involved a pre-revolutionary private conveyances from 1773 and 1775. Mitchell v. United States, 1835, involved 1804 and 1806 conveyances in Florida under Spanish rule. In both cases, the Marshall Court continued to apply the rule that Aboriginal title was inalienable except to the Crown. Removal era. Further information. Indian removal. The Indian Removal Act of 1830 established policy that resulted in the complete extinguishment of Aboriginal title in Alabama and Mississippi, 1832, Florida and Illinois, 1833, Georgia, North Carolina, and Tennessee, 1835. The Treaty of New Acata, Indiana, 1840, and Ohio, 1842. See, they could extinguish your title if they changed your title. or your nationality. Reservation treaty and termination errors. Further information, Indian reservation and Indian termination policy. This shift in policy resulted in all tribal lands being either ceded to the federal government or designated as an Indian reservation in Iowa, Minnesota, Texas, and Kansas by 1870. Idaho, Washington, Utah, Oregon, Nevada, Wyoming, Nebraska, and Colorado by 1880. And Montana, Arizona, and New Mexico by 1886, whereas it had taken whites 250 years to purchase the eastern half of the United States. They needed less than 40 years for the western half. Unlike the eastern purchases, some of the transactions in the west involved immense areas of land. More than 75% of Nevada, for example, was acquired in 2 bites, the large majority of Colorado in 3. It was not long before the West was dotted with Indian reservations. So what they're saying is, if you understand what we've been teaching, they're saying that we as Moors was all over. Colorado, Utah, we were everywhere. And through laws, they were able to take our land through federal policy once they was able to change who you were as a person. If you look at these dates, 1870, remember, it was 1868 when Pitchfork Ben Tillman and them went on their crusade, create the 14th, 15th Amendment to make you a slave. These years all coincide. Let me keep going. Congress banned further Indian treaties by a statute in 1871 that was shortly after what? 1868. But treaty-like instruments continue to be used to alienate Indian land and designate the boundaries of reservations. Language in 1881 Indian Country Bill referring to lands to which the original Indian title has never been extinguished was struck by its sponsors who claimed that there was no such lands in the United States. In 1887, the Doors Act introduced an allotment policy whereby communal reservation lands were divided into parcels held in fee simple and thus alienable by individual Indians with the surplus as declared by the government sold to non-Indians. Allotment ended in 1934. 1940s, the Alaska Native Claims Settlement Act, 1971, extinguished all Aboriginal title in Alaska, although the Legitimacy Act remains disputed by some Alaskan natives. Indian land claim settlements extinguished all Aboriginal title in Rhode Island, 1978, and Maine, 1980. According to Professor Stuart Banner, the story of Indians and land over the past 60 years has primarily been that of tribes' efforts to get land back or to be compensated for land wrongfully taken. Indians have directed land claims at every branch of the federal government, at Congress, at the courts, at the Interior Department, and for the 1940s to the 1970s at the purpose-built administrative agency called the Indian Claims Commission. Some of these claims have been remarkably successful, culminating either directly in court judgments or indirectly in legislative settlements. Basically, they settle some of these claims in secret. But I can tell you a large reason why a lot of these people were losing, because they're coming in as Indians. This is why they don't want you to become a Moor again. They don't want to resurrect that, because if that's resurrected, there is nothing they can do. Nothing. All right, that's it. I'm gonna definitely look up that case. Where is that case? Did I need to see that case. Not on Wikipedia. I need to look at it through Lord's Library and look at it if it's still up there. Let me see if I can pull it up. Here it is, right here. I might get lucky. All right. What I'm gonna take a short break. And I'll be right back.
Keeping an eye on the government is critical to keeping the government in its place. But while government loves keeping an eye on us, it hates it when we keep an eye on it. And it's been easier to do so. It makes it more dangerous. More and more citizens are recording their interactions with the police using simple and perfectly legal devices like their cell phones. And the cops don't like that one bit, increasingly resisting the tapings with force and even jail time. Take a look at this.
Get off motorcycle. Get off the motorcycle. Get off the motorcycle. State police. See your hands. Put your hands up.
That's a video a Maryland motorcyclist recorded when he was pulled over for speeding by a cop, not wearing a uniform, not showing a badge, but with a gun drawn. The motorcyclist got a ticket and was so upset about the incident, he posted the video online. You won't believe what happened next. Days later, his home was raided by Maryland State Police, who confiscated his computer and arrested him. He's been charged with 2 felonies for allegedly violating Maryland's wiretapping law. He faces 16 years in jail. This is in the United States, not in North Korea. Reason Magazine's Radley Falco has been reporting on this story and this disturbing trend. He joins me now. Radley, welcome back to Freedom Watch. We always have you on when the police are doing the most god-awful things. What is happening here in the United States? Are the police actually claiming that when they stop someone for what they say is a crime or a traffic infraction in public, that they, the police, have some right to privacy at that moment, at that place, at the side of the road, and that they can't be filmed when doing it?
Well, that was the argument in this case, Judge. But actually, a Maryland judge has since thrown the charges against Anthony Graber out. But here's something to consider. The prosecutor in that case was wrong on the law. The state police were wrong on the law when they raided this guy, wrongly arrested him, wrongly jailed him. This guy had 2 felony charges hanging over his head for months.
Right.
Now, a Maryland state judge ruled that they were wrong on the law and he was right. Now, think about this. If he had been wrong on the law, he could have gone to jail for 15 years or more, right?
Right.
He was right. They were wrong. What's going to happen to them? Absolutely nothing. He can't sue them. It's almost impossible to sue a prosecutor. It's very difficult to sue the police.
Right.
And they're not going to be disciplined or sanctioned in any way. There is a huge, this arresting people for videotaping the cops, that's a bad enough issue in itself. There's also this double standard about citizens are supposed to know the law front to back.
Exactly.
But the people actually charged with enforcing it aren't expected to know the law, and I think that's a huge problem.
Here's another good example. Here's another example of taping cops. Here's a bicyclist shoved off his bike by a cop. The officer, not knowing that he was being filmed, he intentionally knocked the bicyclist off. After the video went viral, watch this, we're doing it in slow motion, the officer was charged with filing a false criminal complaint. Ooh! A cop pushing a guy innocently and lawfully on his bike. Now, that guy was prosecuted, that cop, because he lied under oath and filed a false incident report, and he was convicted, Radley. So there's a just outcome.
Well, it is. As I understand it, he was actually acquitted on the charge of assaulting the bicyclist. But
convicted on the charge of lying.
Of lying, right? Filing the false report. That's right. But that case illustrates why this is important, Judge. I can rattle off a dozen cases where citizens shot videos actually shown police officers to have lied on police reports.
Here's one more. I want you to watch this one with us. In this incident, a Washington, D.C. cop got angry that his car was hit by a snowball, by some residents having a friendly snowball fight. He gets out and he draws a gun. Watch it, and we're going to show the part with the gun in slow motion. That's the cop doing the pushing.
What? He's got a gun?
All right, when confronted about this incident, the officer denied that he drew his gun, and his bosses in the police department backed him up until the video went online and went viral. So how do these cops get away with this? Why do the police departments back them up when there's evidence out there that they didn't tell the truth? In this case, committed a crime. by threatening to use deadly force over a snowball fight.
Well, it's really incredible. In that case, the spokesman for the D.C. Police Department actually went to the media and flat out denied that this officer had pulled a gun. He said that the people there must have mistaken his radio for a gun. And it wasn't until the videos hit the web that story was proven false. In a lot of these cases, also, Judge, the police will confiscate the cameras, and they'll actually delete the photos and videos that were taken of the incident. I actually have some friends who last year, I think actually they've been on your show,
right,
who were arrested in Mississippi last year and took video of that incident. When they got the video camera back, the video had been deleted. They actually took the video to a tech guy who was able to retrieve the video. So we now know that somebody in the Jones County, Mississippi Sheriff's Department deleted evidence in a criminal case. That person needs to be prosecuted.
You know what
the judge
that's
and
called?
the DA there need to be investigating that.
That's called obstruction of justice. People can go to jail for that for 20 years, whether they're cops or civilians. Radley Balco, thank you for joining us. Boy, it is just amazing that in a free society you can't record public servants going about their so-called public service. They work for us, and we deserve to know what they're doing. To that end, police in particular, you know this, we just saw it, have been known to trample the constitutional rights of people all the time. What you have a right to know is that you absolutely can video and audio tape them. The police routinely violate the Constitution when they pull over your car or stop you on the street. They ask you intrusive questions that you don't have to answer. They sometimes even rough people up. They push them off their bicycles. They threaten them with guns. They basically treat you like you're guilty of a crime before you've even been charged or convicted of one. The Constitution protects you from this type of police behavior, and many Americans have realized that policemen, often not caring about the Constitution, need to be photographed. So courageous Americans have decided to video and audio tape their interactions with law enforcement as a way to protect themselves from police mistreatment or to prove what happened. Yet big government is so afraid of people recording the police, it tries to ban the practice. This is completely unconstitutional. The First Amendment guarantees our right to free speech. That includes the right to listen to and record what happens in public. Cameras and recording devices are simply modern-day note-taking. And if people are using them to keep the police honest, to tell the truth about law enforcement abusing rights, that it is the right of the people to record these affronts to the Constitution. For the government to record us is Orwell's 1984 come true. For us to record the government is a public right and a smart thing to do.
You're listening to the Moor Empire Building Show with your host, Akeem F. on Hindsight Radio.
All right, peace to God. I'm back. Had to take a little break there. All right, let's get back. Yeah, that's right. They robbed us. We've been robbed. We've been bamboozled. We've been tricked. And I don't even know if I want to call it pulling the wool over our eyes. Shit, they pulled the whole damn planet over our eyes. Yeah, you know, a lot of us wasn't born and we knew that we were Moors, that our ancestors are the original Aboriginals of this land. You know what I'm getting sick of? There's a lot of people in this movement that just want to get on these lines and they want to just yap about what they know, information they've been, you know. And a lot of stuff, a lot of times they get in and say something that ain't even relevant to the conversation of what we talking about. You know? And these same people ain't doing jack shit to free themselves, but they just want to be heard and talk. Listen, I don't know about everybody else, but I'm tired of being in this position. And when I'm tired of something, I do something about it. I make moves to make my situation different. I don't get it where, you know, people just love talking about the problem, won't do nothing about the problem. But they like to bring up, you know, little things, patriotic things they done read and talked about that. That won't even change anything. You heard what this with this last recording. You got to use that Constitution. This is how we're going to get out of it. Through the very contract that they committed themselves to defend. All right. Let's take a call. All right. I don't know how long I'm going to go tonight. I'm going to go. If you want to got something to say, press 1 or forever hold your peace. 585-730.
Peace to the God.
Peace to the God. What's going on?
Nothing. Reading that put a lot into perspective, and I know you just brought up the Bill Pitchfork Tillman, and I just think this 14th Amendment thing is like it's just really holding us back, and I wouldn't even say they pulled the wool over our eye. It's like we drunk the juice, and we just allowed ourselves to get mesmerized and, I guess bamboozled by the lies. And I don't know what kind of shiny things they might have showed us.
Let me ask you a question. How did they bamboozle you?
Well, I wouldn't say, I don't know. I guess to honestly answer that, I kind of would take that defense of that generational thing. You know how, like, I guess with the church, how you never really knew about Jesus or the church, but you only knew through what your parents was teaching you and things like that. So I don't know. I guess I was bamboozled through my family. My family was bamboozled, so it just ran down on me too.
No, they didn't. I mean, in their defense, they didn't do it intentionally.
Who?
Your parents, your aunts, people that, they
didn't
do it intentionally. They went on a system
they know.
of
That's what they know.
Education. They only went on what they thought was right. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
but then, when you know better,
kids,
you do better.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If I don't look for the truth, if I don't know where to look for the truth, how do I know what the truth is?
Well, I know something. I hear a lot of like callers call in, and even people I've had discussion with. People always say, "I know something wasn't right. I just feel it inside of me that something isn't right." So, you try to take yourself out of the situation, but then you get like you get backlash sometimes because even like when you say you don't want to do something and the rest of society is trying to do it, even like you being a Moor or considering yourself being a Moor. People put their nose down at when you say things like that, or you trying to, like I was going to say too, it seems like they're always trying to put us in these categories where we stay away from the goal, like the slave codes, and even you talking about the Dawes Act. So either if you wanted to consider yourself an Indian or a Negro, it's always these, force fields. But even like I think you've been about a couple months ago with that Black Lives Matter type of thing where they had like that watch out for terrorists, or if you consider yourself a Moor, you might be a terrorist or something. It's always just trying to steer us away from it. But
they consider Moorish societies terrorists, not Moors. Let me make the distinction. They say Moorish. That's how it reads. It doesn't say anything about Moors. They will stay. Listen, the government knows who the Moors are, and they will stay away from using that word and demonizing it. It's when you start calling yourself Moorish, you got a problem. You
got peons who don't know the difference between the two words and will just try to, house them all together. You know what I'm saying? Then you have to go into like this mode.
Hold on. You're going to have to hold on a second. I got to talk to my daughter real quick. Hold on. All
okay.
All right, I'm back.
Okay. then I was reading too a little bit further along in the reading, and it was saying like non-federally recognized tribes are not entitled to reverse the holding as a matter of law. And I know, like, through trying to find out, where you come from or where your grandparents come from, and you find out those tribes that's not recognized, like those are, the real tribes. But you like talking about this land thing, like I think about some of the tribes up here in Rhode Island or here in New York that try to get like Governor Cuomo to recognize who they are, and they just keep getting turned down. But you try to share this information.
They're going in as Indians. They're going in as Indians, so they can do whatever they want. They can recognize it or not. When you go in on the federally recognized title, which is Indian, or a federally recognized tribe, it's because a lot of those tribal names are not the original names. They can do whatever they want. It's basically like a 14th Amendment. They can do whatever they want. They told it while I was reading that Congress could do whatever they want. They're the ones who decided who lands were going to be extinguished as Aboriginal. Yep. The reason why they can do that because they went in as Indians. If you go in there and ask for something under a title that they gave you, they can do whatever they want.
Property, just straight property. That's like when we were in New York at the seminar a couple weekends ago, and continuously breaking down that 14th Amendment, and I don't know if it might have been like Section 3 or Section 2, and it's talking about how the Congress is the one that gets to decide. It's all left up to the Congress.
If you're a 14th Amendment, yes, they make all the rules and have jurisdiction over that.
But I was gonna say something. I missed my little place where I was at. But is that kind of like hinting back toward? And this is probably like a redundant question, but with the 14th Amendment, why that HJR 192 can't really apply to us because, that last section, the 14th Amendment saying like they don't pay the debts of slaves?
Right. You're right. I'm confirming it, yes. It don't work because you can't discharge anything as a 14th Amendment. Although they have allowed some to get through and some of them to get through, really, technically, under the 14th Amendment, you can't question the debt. The debt cannot be questioned. And anybody that tries to question it is called, I think it's called
like
insurrection.
You insurrecting something, right? Like you're trying to... Yeah.
Yeah.
It's terrible, but then reading that latches thing that you say, I know you said you can't really go into it too much, but I think that was created to try to run more game on you because most of us don't know who we are, and if you come along later trying to say, like, well, I'm this or I'm that, and then, they might try to, pin that on you.
Latches is saying that you knew what was going on and you did nothing about it. You were slow. But if you had no knowledge and you was misled into believing something that you're not, then it's not latches. It doesn't apply. The problem is people never attacked it that way. See what I'm saying? It's like if I get a complaint for someone suing me for something and I don't answer that complaint, they win.
But couldn't you say, like, even when y'all go through the Bill Pitchfork Tillman and they talked about the lynchings and the killings and all the rest of that stuff, like most black people or whatever you want to consider yourself wanted to stay away from the courts anyway because even reading what you're reading to us, there is no protection because they can just come back and abrogate the land. They can just, just allow crack to come on the land and take your shit. Like,
there's no protection for 14th Amendments and people who are calling themselves Native Americans or Indians, but they are protecting for Moors.
And then they want you to show proof.
My proof
of who
is
you are.
okay. It's very simple. Very simple. It's not complicated. Today is supposed to be considered the National Day of Prayer, right? Now, y'all might be like, why am I mentioning that, right? So that says that the government recognizes God, right, as a supreme being, and today is National Day of Prayer. Every third, I think it's every third or
but
first
what God?
something May.
Like you
something
can't trust what God did.
Well, hold on. You're missing my point.
Okay.
So if I come in and I say I'm a Moor and I'm claiming that under my religious freedoms, what can they say? They can't argue that. They can't
then they're
question
really going
that.
against. Yeah.
Right. That's constitutional. That's an unalienable right protected by the Constitution. Nothing they can say.
Yep.
No court should ever turn you down. And if they do, you go straight to the Supreme Court. They're going to give it to you every time. You see what I'm saying? All right, I got to keep it moving.
All right, Hakeem. Thank you.
All right, well. All right, let me read this National Day of Prayer. Now, I brought it up because it just seems like some of us are missing the point. People don't have power over you if you invoke certain things. Number one, Constitution. Number two, your religious freedoms. Those two things they can't touch. And this is what came out today. It says President Donald Trump, and he didn't declare it today. It was something that was already enacted from 1988. But, of course, he's going to try to take credit for it. There it is. It says, on this National Day of Prayer, we join together to offer gratitude for our many blessings and to acknowledge our need for divine wisdom, guidance, and protection. So right there, the government itself is recognizing that there is a divine wisdom. And that very statement alone traps them into giving us what we want. Let's continue. Prayer by which we affirm our dependence on God has long been fundamental to our pursuit of freedom, peace, unity, and prosperity. So what it's saying is, if I have a dependence on the supreme being, whatever God I choose to worship, it's my fundamental right, protected by the Constitution. And my prosperity depends on it. If y'all listening, y'all should be taking notes, because all of this could be a template into y'all's paperwork when y'all fighting these people. Prayer sustains us and brings us comfort, hope, peace, and strength. Therefore, we must cherish our spiritual foundation and uphold our legacy of faith. I'm answering how to beat these people. Your spiritual foundation, what is it? See, some of y'all are trying to claim being more just so y'all can get some money, just to be down. Some of y'all ain't down for the right reason. I know why I'm doing it, because it's a spiritual journey. And if it ain't a spiritual journey for you, then I don't know how far you'll get. But I know I'm in it for the long haul. Prayer has been a source of guidance, strength, and wisdom since the founding of our republic. Wait a minute. They're calling it a republic now. When the Continental Congress gathered in Philadelphia to contemplate freedom from Great Britain, the delegates prayed daily for guidance. Look, more remedy in this statement. When the Continental Congress gathered in Philadelphia to contemplate freedom from Great Britain, aren't we trying to contemplate freedom from this 14th Amendment, from this U.S. government or corporation? Their efforts produced the Declaration of Independence and its enumeration of the self-evident truths that we all cherish today. We believe that all men, women are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, including life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Prayer sustained us and gave us the strength to endure the sacrifices and suffering of the American Revolution and to temper the triumph of victory and humility and gratitude. Notably, as one of its first acts, our newly formed Congress appointed chaplains of the House of Representatives and Senate that all proceedings will begin with prayer. So let's slice that up. They said they installed chaplains, and all proceedings will begin with prayer. So basically, if you're a part of their system, then you're a part of their religious organization. So if you're trying to get out of this argument, you can make it, I cannot be a part of your church. Because you have put in here all of these things that you guys do. I'm not a part of that. I need to be separate from that. Because based on my religious instructions and beliefs, I'm a Moor. We don't have the same God. Let me continue. As a nation, we have continued to seek God in prayer, including in times of conflict and darkness. At the height of World War II, President Franklin D. Roosevelt called for prayer for the vision to see our way clearly, to see the way that leads to a better life for ourselves and for all our fellow men, and to the achievement of his will to peace on earth. Aren't we trying to see a way for our betterment of our people, our tribes, our ancestors, for the future of our children? Aren't we doing that? Decades later, following one of the darkest days in our nation's history, President George W. Bush offered this prayer for a heartbroken country, mourning the precious souls who perished in the terrorist attacks on September 11, 2001. We ask Almighty God to watch over our nation and grant us patience and resolve in all that it is to come. We pray that he will comfort and console those who now walk in sorrow. We thank him for each life we now must mourn and the promise of life to come. America has known peace, prosperity, and war and depression, and prayer has sustained us through it all. You notice he keeps saying America. He's not saying United States or U.S. May our nation and our people never forget the love, grace, and goodness of our Maker. May our praise and gratitude never cease. On the National Day of Prayer, let us come together, all according to their faiths. See, gave you remedy there, so you can come according to your faith. So when your petition is done, according to my faith, I have to do this. We thank God for his many blessings and ask for his continued guidance and strength. In 1988, the Congress, by Public Law 100-307, as amended, called on the President to issue each year a proclamation designated the first Thursday in May as a National Day of Prayer, on which the people of the United States may turn to God in prayer and meditation at churches and groups and as individuals. Now, therefore, I, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America, do hereby proclaim May 3rd as National Day of Prayer. I encourage all Americans to observe this day, reflecting on the blessings our nation has received and the importance of prayer, which appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities in their house of worship, communities, and places of work, schools, and homes. The witness whereof I have unto set my hand this third day of May in the year of our Lord 2018 and of the independence of the United States of America, the 242nd. Donald J. Trump. That's what he wrote. Well, somebody wrote it for him, maybe, under his direction, maybe. I don't know. But what I'm saying, I read this so y'all can understand the power of your religious freedoms. It's always been that. Why? Because when they went around the country, they had to give you a new religion, a new God, a new belief system in order to get you away from your ancestral traditions. And once they did that, they was able to take your land. Once you gave up your God, you gave up your land. Why? Because it was your God who gave you the land. Once you forsook your ancestral ways, you forsook everything that went with it. Your land, children, your freedom, your prosperity, everything. All right. Let's see. Okay, let's go to the next caller. Let's see. 203-892. Peace to the God.
Peace to the God. What's up, King?
What's going on?
Can't call it, man. I know you're going in tonight, man. You want your shit tonight.
Thank you.
Word. I'm glad to be a part of this, man. I just wanted to big up you, man, tonight. Yeah, that 14th Amendment shit. Yeah, that 14th Amendment shit real, man. You know,
it's real.
We got to get them handcuffs up off of us. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Like you said, by any means necessary, man, we got to get that done.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's crazy, man. It ain't even it's really no words, man. You just got to do what you got to do, man. Get yourself together and know who you are and take the right steps to get where you got to be.
Absolutely, brother. You got to stay on it. Stay studying, stay reading. And we're going to have to walk in those ways. We're going to have to walk in our ancestral ways.
True indeed.
You know?
Yeah. Yep. And you got to apply it. You know what I'm saying? Everybody want to talk, but you got to apply it. You know, you got to put yourself in situations. You got to, you know what I mean? You got to experience, the downfalls and the gains, man, and separate them and just keep growing until until you master it.
Right.
That's all you could do. That's all you could do, man. But yeah, I ain't want to say too much, man. That's all I want to say, man. I hear you going in. I know you had a great seminar. Right. Somebody I know attended Charlotte. They said it was a great seminar. I'm glad y'all doing one in Atlanta because I'm gonna go ahead and make that one in Atlanta. You said June 16th, correct?
June 16th. Yes.
Okay, bet. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and reserve that and get that down so I can come to that seminar. So I can, meet y'all brothers and continue to go on my path. I finished my injunctions and stuff. So, yeah, man, I'm on the path. Yeah, I'm Gucci. So, all right, man, go ahead and handle your business. I'm going to stay on the line, man. And, big up, man. Peace.
All right. Peace and God. All right, let's take one more caller and before I go to another break. 757-755.
Peace to the God.
Peace to the God. What's going on?
But I ain't seen you in a minute since the Tampa seminar.
Tampa. Oh, okay. It's been a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a minute, man. I've been trying to get my funds right because I want to establish some consultations with you.
Okay.
I really appreciate, brother. I'm really very thankful for the information that you and Jonah be sharing with us, brother. Because, hey, brother, I mean it's just life changing for me in terms of how I see everything. But what you were sharing with that lady tonight, what you were sharing with her tonight, I think that's what the problem is. I don't know thing about it because I got questions myself, but understanding the difference between the United States and America and all of that is paramount because it's so diabolical, man, and the way it's so abstract. But I got a question because I wanted to know the distinguishing difference because we always say 14th Amendment citizens, right? And that is where is that the only contractual amendment, or I'm trying to understand it in the context of the First Amendment.
The 14th Amendment is what gave the Congress the jurisdiction to make rules that governs everyone under their jurisdiction. You see what I'm saying? So you have to read the whole thing because right at the bottom of it, it says Congress shall have. Let me get it. 14. they have the jurisdiction to change and do whatever they want. Anybody that's under that. And what is the 14th Amendment? Anything that is given to you, any benefit you take on from the federal government. What's the number one benefit that they gave you? A Social Security number.
Right. So that is the distinguishing difference between all the other amendments. Am I correct?
That's not the only amendment that shuts you down. The 15th Amendment too. But the 14th Amendment is the biggest one because let's read it. You know what I mean? Have you ever read the 14th Amendment?
Right. You said the 14th? Oh, yes, I studied the 14th Amendment immensely. I mean, that's the one I used to always depend on because I was a 14th Amendment. So that's the one that's got me getting the constitutional guarantees of a citizen. But because I didn't understand what a citizen was, I was getting what I deserved in that sense.
Right. You lose when you come in there that way. Because they
Right. You get what you deserve.
Once you come in as a 14th Amendment, you basically put away the Constitution.
Yeah.
You see?
You come in as a slave.
Well, all right. Number 5, at the last one, it says the Congress shall have power to enforce by appropriate legislation the provisions of this article. So if you're coming in as a 14th Amendment, they could change, add, do whatever. And it says, okay, let's see. Section 1 says all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. There it is.
It is, right.
Are citizens of the United States and the state of wherein they reside. You see what I'm saying? So if you're naturalized into the United States, which that's not America, it says United States. It doesn't say United States of America. When I read that day of prayer, he never said United States at all.
Right.
He said Republic and he said America.
Right.
United
States. So to get those rights, you got to come under those two banners.
Right. You are under their jurisdiction. So let's go to I can continue reading. Let's go to Section 2. No, let's keep going. Number 4, the validity of the public debt of the United States authorized by law, including debts incurred for payment of pensions and bounties for services in suppressing insurrection or rebellion, should not be questioned. Right there to tell you that as the 14th Amendment, you cannot question anything. The debt, you get a ticket. They give you a ticket. You can't question that. If you're coming in as a 14th Amendment. That's why lawyers never bring the Constitution into any of their cases. Because they can only handle cases for 14th Amendment citizens, U.S. citizens.
Right.
You talk Constitution, they're going to talk around the Constitution. Lawyers only use Constitution when they're trying to defend themselves. But they will never use it in your case.
Yeah.
They'll use case law.
Yeah. So they have a consultation with you. What I got to do, brother?
Akeemel.com and click the consultation tab. Akeemel.com.
Akeem.com?
Akeeml.com.
All right.
You in the chat?
How much?
It's $60.
No, I got to get me a laptop, man, and get my stuff together, man.
Okay.
But I've been putting in some work, right? So now I'm ready for you. I did my injunction, right?
Uh-huh.
I mean, not my injunction. I did my authentication, and I'm ready for my injunction.
Oh, okay. All right.
And that's why I need you. I need you to help me with that. So I've been trying to. I might be going about it backwards, but from what I'm hearing and what I've been listening to, I'm thinking that if I create certain businesses now, I can transfer them over when I go private. Or am I doing it backwards?
It depends on how you create them. You got to create them correctly, you know.
How should I create it?
If you create an LLC, that's a public corporation, and that belongs to the state because you got to register it.
Okay.
That's why we always talk about creating DBAs, unassociated, unincorporated associations is what we talk about.
When I create my business, create a DBA?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I never heard of the DBA's being an entity. I know about SC.
It's called doing business ads. That's
okay.
what DBA means. Doing business ads. Doing business ads, whatever name you want to call it.
Okay.
You know, your name doing business ads, whatever you name it. It's an entity that you create.
Okay. And it's not it don't fall under the other entities. It don't fall under none of those. Like sole proprietor, S corporation, C corporation, don't fall under
DBA is most DBAs is usually is a sole proprietor. Like it's a sole owner.
Okay, be a sole proprietor. Okay. But
it's not something you register at the state level. You register it on the county. It just depends on what state you come from, how you register a DBA.
So register on the county level?
Yeah, it depends on the state, brother.
Okay. Because it might be on the state, right? That's what you're saying.
What I want you to do, go look up what DBA is and look up what a sole proprietor is. We'll look up what an LLC is, and you'll see the differences in the businesses.
I got you. So you should be hearing from me soon, brother. I'm Samuel Muhammad Ali.
Okay. All right. I look forward to it. All right.
All right, brother. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
All right. All right. I'm going to take a short break, and I'll be right back.
Matthew and I were discussing some of the things about why you've discounted on a subconscious level some of the things that have happened because absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. And he said something very profound for an Australian. This is heavy duty shit. But he said, I decided to do it even though it was stupid. I decided to do it. Stupid meaning follow the process. To an intellectually bright guy who's an engineer. And see, you won't. You see, you'll figure out a better way. And he followed a stupid process that works and has been working for 45 years, 20-some years before when I was doing it, and 22 years since I've been coaching. And he called it. He wasn't trying to be insulting or anything. He says, I just decided to follow this, How did you say it?
Instead of trying to be smart, I would just try to be stupid, shut that part off of my brain, and just do it.
And what happens? He did it. And that's why it's hard for the YouTubers and all the other, because you can't dumb down. You will not believe that it's easy. You can't, you won't. But he put it very succinctly. He just dumbed down and shut off that part of his brain and just followed the steps. You don't need fucking case studies. You have a fucking template. You have a motherfucking script that a fucking monkey can read. That Alex wants a fucking case study because he wants to know the shit behind it because he's stupid. And that's why he's fucking poor. You don't need any motherfucking case studies. How many fucking times do I have to say? You have the fucking script. I said don't change a fucking word on the script. Not a comma. If it's got misspelled fucking words, send it out misspelled. The last thing you fucking need is a fucking case study. This is why you're fucking poor. This is why the cocksuckers watching this on YouTube are so fucking poor.
Keep it locked on Hindsight Radio.
There you go. Mess with that box again. And one day you're going to show me what fascinates you so much in that box.
Ain't too time yet, boy. You're not ready to learn about the real past.
Yeah, that's right.
You young folks always looking over in Africa or running to California somewhere trying to find yourself. See, that's how them Caucasians beat us every time. Divide and conquer.
And trick. You know what, guys? I'm really not trying to debate about no white people right about now.
Debate? See, this is non-debatable, son. The Moors are the original free white persons. Now, that has nothing to do with being Caucasian. White is a legal term, not a skin color. Look it up in Black's Law Dictionary.
Get an old 4th edition, though, before 1970 when they really started deleting things.
Just because you can't see it, don't mean it's not there, boy.
Don't get so heated.
Ignorance or deletion is no excuse for not knowing the law.
But the government loves to play hide and seek with the truth.
It's not a question of do I want to stay or go. I can't leave. And neither can you. You belong to this land.
You're listening to the Moor Empire Building Show with your host, Akeem L. on Hindsight Radio.
All right, I'm back. That's right. It's non-debatable. We belong to this land. It's ours. Always was. We got occupiers, settlers. They call them colonizers. I call them occupiers. I call them invaders. I call them liars, thieves, tricksters, con artists. You know, that reminds me. I used to play a lot of. So one of the games we used to play was Call of Duty. Call of Duty, what's the other one? The main one was Call of Duty. I mean, we played that game for hours. Me, my brother, and my 2 sons used to play. You know, my sons, one of my sons, he lived with his mom in Charlotte. That's when I was in Columbia. And we all be online playing as a team. That's how we bonded. And I noticed something playing video games called Today is White. I noticed something that was very common amongst them all. They would always find some way to play the game, to trick the game. They call them glitches. They never played the game. Most of them would never play the game as it was intended to be played, straight up. They used to find some type of glitch and they would exploit it, and that's how they would gain victories. But, I was okay at the game. I was the oldest one, of course, out of everybody playing, so my reflexes wasn't as good as my boys and my brothers. But I was still pretty decent. I was still formidable. But my sons were like, I used to tell them straight up, they checking y'all stats out, and they're gonna recruit y'all when it come time. They be using these drones because y'all one of my sons would get you would have kills versus death ratios, right? And they had one of the games they had built this if you get so many kills, you could nuke the board. Hey, that means I think the kill, you had to get 30 kills without dying, straight up. So, somewhere in that range. I can't remember exactly. And he would regularly be nuking the board, nuke the whole game. My other son was he was just as good, too. I mean, as soon as the game starts, they getting out, they got 5 or 6 kills under their belt, just playing this game, just playing it straight up, no glitches, no nothing. These are people of color, we all. And we had other guys on our team, all of them were pretty much people of color. But when we ever played those all-white teams, they always will find some cheat to try to win. Now, they would get away with it once or twice, and then we figured it out, and they could never do it again. We would beat them. But what I'm saying is they've been doing this trickery stuff. I come to believe, just based off my experience with that it's part of the nature. That they cannot win straight up. And this is why Ben Tillman did what he did, and all his other cohorts. They had to trick. They had to kill. They had to threaten. They had to intimidate. Isn't that what they're still doing today? When they pull you over, they intimidate you, put fear into you to get you to do what they want. Attack your thoughts, attack your mind. What does that say about a people that's their main mode of operation is tricks and intimidation? What does that say? You know, just look at most of your physical sports out there, you know. Basketball used to be an all-white game, you know, when it first started. And they used to didn't dribble. They used to walk with the ball and pass it, and the basket didn't have a hole in it, you know. And then when we got involved in it, it just morphed into something dunking, slam dunking, and we just take it to a whole new level. I really believe the 5%ers when they said the black man is God. Because when you really look at things for what they really are, the black man is the alpha male of the male species for the most part. And I know I might have some white people listening, they might not agree with me, and you're entitled to your opinion, and I'm entitled to mine. And this is my goddamn show, so I'm going to say what my opinion is. But when I look at the facts, when I look at the world as it is, when I look around, I can kind of see how sometimes these cops, they see a black person or a person we call black, you know, a Moor. I'm going to start calling them Moors. I don't want to use those terms anymore. Moor, you see a Moor, they see a giant. They see a god or a demigod. That's what they see. And they are really scared and afraid. For someone to get out of a car in less than seconds, kill a 8-year-old child, you really had to have a perception of this kid as really being a serious threat, or you just had some type of contempt or jealousy in your heart, hatred in your heart to do something like that. Question, you just do that. You just sacrifice your child. But I tell you, though, all of this bloodshed, all of this blood spilling and all of this stuff, what you put out, you will get back. I know when I did things to people, whether good or bad, I got it back. It was returned to me. Whatever is given will be returned tenfold. So for every act of violence that they commit against us, they're only destroying themselves. And it's showing. Opioid epidemic. The children are turning on them. I mean, it's just, we didn't do it to you. You're doing it to yourself. Instead of showing compassion, love, and what do you call, camaraderie and being honorable, it shows the opposite. So you're going to get that. That's going to come back. And, you know, the pendulum swings drastically in both directions before it settles on balance. And then balance will be brought back, you know. And I was watching the Avengers last week, and one of the things that Thanos was talking about, the universe needs balance. Now, in that movie, I had to agree with Thanos. A lot of people, you know, looked at him as an evil being, and he was bad because he was fighting against your favorite characters. But when you really looked at that movie on a real spiritual level, balance must be brought. In order to bring balance, some people have to go. Because right now we have an overly abundance of bad behavior, wicked behavior. So in order to bring balance, some people got to go. Because some people just not going to let go of those wicked behaviors. So how do you get rid of those things? They have to be exorcised from the planet. The earth has a way of protecting itself, and it will get rid of what is destroying her. You know, whether it be spiritual energy or physical energy, it will get rid of it. This is why you had so many civilizations coming and going. This ain't the first time we've been down this road. This planet has experienced this. It's one of many. And it's going to go through a point of cleansing and then rebuilding. So you go through a point of extreme chaos, and then it balances out. Then you have extreme peace, and then it balances it back out. It's going to balance. We're coming there. I don't know if I'll live long enough to see it in this physical body, but I know it's coming. All right, let me get back to the phone line. Where was I? Kana. Let's go to 404-604. Peace of God.
I can't peace to the gods, man. It's like listening to the show. It's like everything you're saying, that's not right though, you know, because you know, on the whole, like I couldn't agree more. You know what I'm saying? Like all what you was reading off, and you know, basically everything addressing yourself as a Moor, you know, and all that like this. Like basically, if you don't, then all those 14th and 15th amendments and all that, they trying to press on you and all like that. But you know, if you move like so far, talk about like what more, and that is your title. You know, if that's what you're gonna be, what happens, you know, like that. You know, and that's you, because it really. Anything else is for servitude, ain't it?
Say it again, bro. With that last part.
I said because anything else is ultimately forced servitude.
Yes. Well, the whole way they got the whole government is set up is forced servitude. You know, when they require people to get a passport to travel, and you have to go to them to pay for the passport. You have to get it to go travel international, and you got to pay them to even get it. You say, I can't get out of this country unless I have this passport. And if I don't have it, I can't get on a plane to get out of here. You know, I can't cross a boat into international waters without it. So you making something a requirement, and I got to pay you for it, that's for servitude. If you're going to say it's a requirement, and I have to have it, then you need to be providing it as a benefit, and it should be free. Right. Why should I have to pay you for something you created and said I have to have?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Forced servitude. I don't like because they in forced situation pretty much. It's like you don't have. They're not. You know. When you look at it, you know. Well, that's just something I was going to say. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense though. To be as more, yeah. After what you read, original, yeah, it all makes sense though. A whole lot with that, but yeah, if you want to, like for instance, there's another thing too I was thinking about as well. I want to say, like I guess it's kind of with that. Like for instance, like if you're dealing with the courts and they label you as a black person, you know, or Negro, that's the same situation, right?
You're just all you got to do is a declaration of who you are and put it in your case.
Right. No doubt.
You know, I kind of did that last week, or I read off something. You say, hey, I am such and such. Make sure, let the court know who you are in your paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
No doubt. That makes all the sense in the world, for real, because they're addressing you at this, that's erroneous, right? They're never at
But just make sure they not, make sure they know for the record who you are.
Mm-hmm. Makes all the sense in the world. Oh, God.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a lot, bro. I'm just enjoying the show as usual, but you already know, mighty hindsight. Oh, that. Yeah.
All right, peace to God, man.
No doubt.
Right.
Peace to the God.
All right. All right, let's go to the next one. Peace to the God. 941-243. Peace to the God.
Hey, what up, Akeem?
Hey, what's going on?
Peace to the God.
It's Duval L. It's Duval
Okay.
L. I was just calling say I had just got I just did the 9-8 about 30 minutes ago, and a few questions.
Good job.
I was asked was, she asked me was the apartment or the suit number, and I just told her apartment, and I said 508. I made up the number.
Well, if it was an apartment, I don't know which part you were on to even answer that question.
That's what she asked me. She just asked me that, and out of the blue, because when I was listening to all the demonstration between you and Jonah and Joy Bounce, I ain't never heard that question. So I'm like, damn, what am I saying?
What do you mean by you never heard it? I went through the whole form.
I know
on the 9-8, and when I went through each one, when they get to this line, how you answer it?
Yeah, how you answer? That's what I'm saying. I wrote it down on paper from the sheet, right? I got the sheet. I wrote it down exactly what I'm gonna say, So she asked me about.
Did you get the 9-8 number?
I got the number. That's the point. That's what I was gonna say. I got the number.
So
but I'm just telling you the question she asked.
Why are you telling me what she asked? If she gave you the 9-8 number, what she asked is irrelevant. Right.
Yeah, it's
you got
relevant,
the 9-8
but
number.
I was just kind of wanted to put it out there. Like,
it ain't nothing to put out there. You got a 9-8 number from the information you gave her.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not important, really.
Yeah.
Once you got the 9-8 number, you're in there. So all of that apartment number, because somebody else is going to probably get a different way to ask.
Yeah,
they're going to ask you a question. Everybody,
True.
So you got the 9-8 number. Congratulations. All right, what else you got?
Oh, so I was just calling, telling y'all I appreciate y'all for what y'all doing, and y'all been going hard with the Articles of Confederation, the Articles of Association, and talking about the fraud, the euros, and then two, I love the fact y'all introduced us to that to the brother Azir. Azir, what is his name?
I didn't introduce him. I don't think that was. I think you're talking about on Joey's show on his station.
Yeah, Joey did.
Joey
did.
Yeah.
And basically, he's spitting the same thing. He's spitting the same thing God's spitting. So it's just another avenue when y'all ain't operating or just to go to say, okay, brother's on point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's just. I mean, he's backing up everything, yo. I've been listening to a lot of his little YouTube joints, so. That's just basically what I had.
Okay,
peace
bro.
To the God.
All right, peace to the God. All right, let's keep it going. 214-429.
Hey, peace to the guy, Jeff Green. I said,
What's going on, Jeff Green? Who the hell is Jeff Green?
I don't know. He was playing for Georgetown. Now LeBron had to give him the okay to be on the roster. I was like, damn, that's not a key, man. What they say?
What? You lost me. I don't know, but what's up? What's your question?
I was going to say, I knew you were going to take my call, but I didn't know how I was going to shine, per se. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I just knew it wasn't me. It wasn't me without you, but I know what team I'm on. So it's just, you know what I'm saying? It's just the package.
Okay.
I'm through talking with King, man. Hey, man. Thank you. Speak to the guys, man.
All right, peace and God,
brother.
brother.
Be like that. Yeah, because you can't
Okay.
talk no more Jews. Okay, family. All right.
All right, peace. Oh no, he lost me. All right, let's go to 832-731.
Peace to God.
Peace to the God. What's going on?
Ain't nothing. It's Reggie, man. I hit the button on accident. I hit the button on accident.
No problem.
It was sitting in my lap.
All right.
Yeah. I get with you, though.
Okay.
All right, cool.
All right. Peace.
All right.
770-906.
Peace to the gods. Hey, Brother Akeem. Hey, I just heard the brother was saying something about he was listening to you break down what you need to say for the 9/8. Is that particular show in the archives? Do you have it on
Yes,
YouTube?
it is. I think it was around December, towards the middle of the end of December, and it's labeled 9/8 number show. It's labeled. You can go find it there.
The past last year, 2017.
This past last year, yes, 2017.
All right. Appreciate it, brother.
Okay. All right, peace. 917-796. Peace to the God.
Peace to the gods. Brother Hakeem, how are you?
Doing all right. How are you?
I'm good. I have one question. I listened to your show last week, and you had mentioned, or was it this week? You had mentioned you had created a template that said
it's not for sale.
Notice
you're about to ask me.
Weapon?
It's not for sale if that's what you're gonna ask me.
I see. All right, not a problem.
You're not for, I actually read the thing out in the show. Go, you can create it right from the show.
Oh,
I read
it.
Yeah.
I got it.
I gave y'all what to write. That's a hard template to write because every situation is different. I can create one. I'm thinking about making it a template, but I want to offer it as part of a package instead of having it by itself.
Right.
Where you have all the tools you need. All right? Well,
yeah, and in talking in the topic and stuff, I just wanted to say, man, that, I'm doing this this is a spiritual thing for me too, and I'm mostly doing it for myself, for my family, but mostly for my kids, because they've been robbed, of who they are, nationality-wise and stuff, and their arrogance. And, we have our kids out here, and they're being killed, and it's sad, and I'm on this journey, and it's not easy, but, we'll get through it. We just got to keep studying and keep going.
Right. I agree with you, brother. I really agree with you. All right, brother. Anything else?
No, that was it. I thought it was for sale, so that's why I called.
Okay. All right.
Peace of the gods.
Unfortunately, it's not for sale just yet. I know a lot of people have been sending me emails about it. And it probably will be, but I wanted, like I said, have it part of a package. All right. I'm just looking for something real quick. A lot of people say they find it hard to find the right information. I know when I was looking, I just simply asked, and then it appeared. Even in, I know we talk about Christianity, but the Bible has a lot of good things in it. I think it's in Matthew chapter 5, versus chapter 7, chapter 7, verses 7 starts there. And it says, asking it will be given to you, seeking you will find, knocking the door will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives, the one who seeks finds, and the one who knocks, the door will be open. See? It's simple. All you got to do is be looking for it. And see, what happens is your mind will attract what you're really looking for. If you're looking for truth, it will find truth. But if you're not looking for truth, you're looking for something that's not truthful, guess what you're going to find? Something that's not truthful. Like I said, some people have ill-gotten will or their intent to what they're trying to do these processes for. They're not trying to do it for honorable reasons. Like I said, you will get what you're asking for. That's why the term says, be careful what you ask for, because you will get it. All right, with that being said, that's it for me tonight. I'm shutting it down. We'll be back here on Monday, the Jonah Bay Show. Then I'll be back on Tuesday. Reminder, on my website, akimel.com, you can go there and check out all our upcoming events. Right now, Atlanta and Connecticut is up there. California is coming up soon. That's right after that. All right. Peace to the gods.